guys, so I have a fire word from the Lord and you are not going to want to miss this video. So definitely share this video with 3 of your friends to get the gospel out there to more people. So I was reading in 1 Peter and chapter 3 verse 17 and 18 is what I'm going to read. So it says, "For it is better, if it is God's will," that is the key here, "if it is God's will to suffer for doing good than for doing evil. For Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, to bring you to God." And see, what I think Peter is saying here is that it might be in God's will for us to suffer as Christians, because the Christian life is not always going to be easy. There's so many false teachers out there that preach the prosperity gospel that if you give your life to Jesus, then you are going to be healthy and you are going to be wealthy for the rest of your life. You're not going to have any more pain, no more suffering. But the Bible teaches otherwise. So I don't know where these false teachers get that you're gonna live a healthy and wealthy life, because the Bible clearly tells us over and over again that we are going to suffer while we are here on this earth. The time that we won't suffer is whenever we get to heaven, because see, we are living this life here on earth and so many people say that this is our best life. But no, our best life is whenever we get to heaven. And while we are here on this earth, we are going to go through hard times. We are going to suffer. The Bible clearly says that. Like I said, it says it over and over again. The Bible never says that life is going to be easy once you give your life to Jesus. And I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking, why does God allow suffering? 1 Peter chapter 2 explains it so well. It talks about how Jesus suffers for our sake. So honestly, we should not be surprised that we are going to suffer, because we should suffer while we are here on this earth for Jesus' sake. And whatever the reason is behind God's will, Peter clearly teaches that it is better to suffer for doing good than for doing evil. A Christian that suffers for Christ's sake, it brings blessing, and it tells that a couple verses above the verses that I read earlier. It's 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 14. It says, "But even if you should suffer for what is right, you are blessed. Do not fear their threats. Do not be frightened." So it clearly says that we will be blessed for suffering for Christ's sake. But to suffer for doing evil or for doing what's wrong means that misery is basically the consequence of our own sin. So just know that if you are watching this video and you are a Christian, you are going to suffer in this life, but it will all be worth it in the end. And like it says in verse 14, you are blessed for suffering for Christ's sake.